Professor Robert Lazarus hurried along the well-lit, laboratory-clean corridor from his office to the Patents and Records vault situated in Sub-Level 1. The vault had been built 25 feet below ground level to withstand a typical 5-kiloton yield nuke, the requisite design standard when the building had been built in the early 1960s. The depth would be pretty useless with the destructive power of today's warheads, however. Redesign and relocation of the vault had been on the drawing board for the last 20 years, but the usual red tape had meant nothing had been done about it yet. Lazarus wiped away a bead of sweat forming on his forehead as he waited for the elevator. "Come on, come on," he whispered under his breath as he glanced up and down the corridor. Whilst he had above top secret level security clearance to access the vault, his nerves were frayed. If he got caught stealing this information, he'd face the full might of America's national security apparatus. He'd signed NSA non-disclosure agreements, and he knew he'd be incarcerated if caught and the key thrown away, if he was lucky. Perhaps assassinated if not so lucky. The elevator arrived and the doors pinged open. He swiped his security pass in the electronic reader and hit the button for Sub-Level 1, and the elevator took him swiftly down. Lazarus got out as soon as the elevator doors opened, knocking his shoulder in the process. He knew his every move was being monitored by the surveillance cameras dotted along the corridor. Stay calm, he told himself as he headed along the passageway. He realized he was walking too fast and slowed down as he approached the main vault door. Taking his security card, he swiped it in the lock and then bent forward to allow the pencil-thin red laser light to scan his retina. A few seconds later, the light on the panel blinked from red to green, and he heard a loud clunk resonate from the ground as the hydraulic lock securing the door moved back. With a hiss of high-pressured air, the 2-foot-thick, reinforced steel door slowly opened, and Lazarus walked into the vault, a rectangular room the size of a basketball court. He inhaled the room's air, which smelled like musty old cardboard, despite the air within the vault being fully recycled on an hourly basis to ensure the older documents and photographs housed there were kept as well preserved as possible. He wondered if the filter systems might be faulty. The air smelled like it was at least a week old, as if it hadn't been recycled for a while. The soft strip lighting in the ceiling above the small landing area just beyond the security door clicked on. The steel lump of the door slowly closed behind him, sealing him in the room, which never ceased to unnerve him. What if the mechanism failed? How the hell would I get out? Spread out before him were row after row of 1970s-style light gray filing cabinets, and racking which extended up from the brown carpeted floor to a height of 12 feet or so. There were 6 rows of cabinets with aisles in between, each one just wide enough to walk along with outstretched arms. Each row was marked alphabetically, A through to H, and beyond that block was another similar block marked I to P. A third identical block was positioned at the far end of the room, labeled Q through W. At the very back of the room was the final 6-cabinet block, identified with the letters X, Y, and Z. At the rear of the room was an area with desks and chairs and 3 Packard Bell computer terminals, all relatively new at only 2 years old, the hard drives of which contained most of the information Lazarus was seeking. He checked the time. He wanted to be out in 30 minutes. Lazarus pulled his spare smartphone from his pocket and took a photo of the room in front of him, making sure he had the correct angle. Then he located the image on his phone, and using a small clip, he reached up and attached his cell phone so that it was positioned just in front of the lens of the security camera that was fixed to the wall on the right of the vault door. Anyone looking at the security camera image would now be deceived into viewing an empty room. All would look as it should. The trick, he hoped, would give him 15 minutes or so to do what he needed to do without being watched.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.